Hey guys, it's Mike with another Guild of Guardians Spotlight video. We're taking a look at Telva today. She's a Sender Strength Redeemer tank. We have talked about Telva on the channel before, and she was in the Tanks video. She is a great starting out tank, and I used her quite a bit when I first started my account. So we got her set up in our same gear set. She is a Sender, so the helmet does match her abilities, which is going to be helpful. That's a 15% stat boost on her, so that's pretty good. We did get her outfitted with the added attack on the crossbow, and then she has a defensive pair of boots. Being a tank, you could probably get away with adding a little attack here potentially, but at the end of the day, she's really there to tank up damage, so I think defense would be the right choice, or HP. Either of those will keep her alive a little bit more and help you out along your way. So, and then save your attack boots for somebody that's doing a little more damage. So if we take a look at her skills, we got Barbaric Rage is her ultimate ability. It is a single target. She charges at the nearest enemy and deals 250% of attack as physical damage and causes knockback. The enemy becomes dizzy for 4 seconds. So she's taking them out of the battle for 4 seconds. It's a single target, which is unfortunate, but we have this up to 360%. That's going to hit pretty hard. So she theoretically could be one-shotting these people depending on how you build her, and then the knockback ability is going to push them back out of the fight and they have to run back in. If you do pair her up with like an Atticus who puts the mines behind the enemies, when she knocks those characters back, as they run back in, they're going to hit those mines and then suffers the damage that he provides with that. So that knockback ability coupled with those mines is a pretty good strategy. Although an AoE knockback would probably work a little better, such as what's her name, Nara. And so if we look at her second ability, it's Crowd Control, Furious Descent. Targets the nearest enemy and deals 225% of attack as physical damage to all nearby enemies and causing taunt for 3 seconds. So this is going to be an AoE-ish kind of area damage. And then causes taunt where they can only use their basic attack on her specifically for 3 seconds. And in this case, we've got it stepped up to 6 seconds, which is quite a bit of time. As I think they do every 10-ish seconds or so, they're actually going through their entire kit. So, I mean, they're only able to use their ultimate abilities for a brief amount of time there. And then Guard is her passive ability. At the start of battle, she chooses the furthest distance ally from Telva and forms a link which shares 30% of damage they receive. The damage to oneself is halved. So she's going to take on 30% of their damage and really only 15% of that, because she's going to cut it in half when it comes on to her. So theoretically, somebody in the back row, damage dealer, you could build a little extra squishy, more attack on them, because she'll tank up some of the damage that they receive. So that could be helpful. It also is putting more damage on your tank, so she might die a little quicker. So it's kind of a catch-22 there. Here we can get that all the way up to 70. We currently have 50% of that shared damage. So that's her kit. Let's go ahead and jump into the Great Forge. She is a Sender, so she will be neutral affinity with this level. And we'll get going on challenge 1 and see how she does. All right, so we are moving into that first battle. So we're gonna go ahead and get going under here and see how she does. So she's gonna come in here, and she's taking the stun. One of her attacks does do area damage, so when the enemies clump up like this is gonna be a good thing. When she gets to her ultimate, it does do a single target, knocks them back. Chances are she's gonna kill them in one hit, assuming she ever gets unstunned. She's taking on quite a few stuns here. So there's her area damage. You saw she does quite a bit with all the enemies grouped up like that. I feel like she did her ultimate and didn't get the knockback, so maybe they dodged it, or maybe she killed them. I don't know. I was talking, I wasn't paying attention. All right, so we are on to that second fight here. We're gonna go ahead and get going. Hopefully she starts her ultimate right away. You see that knockback ability without killing somebody. That is the nice thing about it, though, is it does hit really hard. So yeah, that was a one shot. She killed that guy in one hit. So theoretically, every time she gets to her ultimate, she might just be picking the team apart just one by one. Kind of a little bit of sneaky damage. If you couple her obviously with AoE damage from the back, that'll help her out a lot, and she's going to be knocking these guys out one at a time, so that's pretty good. And then she does have that AoE, sort of AoE ability here, so that was, it almost looks linear the way that it attacked there, because it did not affect this guy back here when she did that other ability. She is getting stunned quite a bit, but she's plugging away. She's going through it. She's tanking it up. Once again, that did not hit that enemy that was there. It looked like it would have been a linear attack for enemies that would be behind the enemy that she hit. But she's a minute into this fight. She's not really in danger of dying, but she has taken on quite a bit of damage over the 2 rooms. I'm a little nervous for her moving into the next room. But we'll see how she does. Now, her overall power ranking, I think, was like 516,000 with the gear that we have on. All right, so we are on to that boss fight there. She's got about half health and does not have any healing in her kit. So you definitely want to pair her with some sort of healer. Flix, Aquirus, maybe a Ferulia early game would be great. There's your knockback right there. This person is now dizzy or stunned for 4 seconds, so took him completely out of the fight. It is a great way of thinning the herd, but she is just getting bombarded and does not do enough damage to get through that wave. Even being a neutral affinity, which I think is pretty telling. Like, she really is geared to just take up damage. She can, obviously, with that ultimate ability, take out one enemy at a time, but it's a very slow process, so you're going to want more damage on that team. So it would be really beneficial to have Darizda, Atticus, maybe a Nara, some damage coming out of the back row. Maybe couple her with a warrior such as a Palmera, or even a Loria we saw, but she didn't do quite as much damage as Palmera, so I think Palmera would be a better choice. So let's take a quick peek at her out in the marketplace. She's actually at $1.55, so a little bit on the lower side. We do get fragments of her over time, so her price is probably going to be pretty low. I feel like as far as the tanks are concerned, she's definitely an introductory level tank. There are definitely better choices in Tuskrog and Icum and probably even Grind, just because of his self-healing. Also in Brund with some of his abilities going on there. But yeah, so her price point is pretty low. There's quite a few of her available under $2. And I think that's probably pretty telling about how well of a champion she is, or how good of a champion she is. You see, we got the warrior version here, the elite version here. See if there's any champion version. Oh, we do. We have 3 champion versions of Telva, and they want $800 for a champion Telva. That's bold. That's pretty bold. I don't know that she's worth that, but if you were collecting the champion versions, I guess it would be something to look into, but I don't know that I'd be paying $800 for it. I think there's definitely better choices. So I think that's about what I got on Telva. She is probably very early game to early mid game tank. If you don't have any other tank available, she is a great choice early on, but as soon as you get another tank and have the ability to start enlightening that tank, I think any of them would probably be a better choice. I think she's probably the introductory level tank. She does do more damage than Grind, so if your overall setup is lacking damage, then she might be a better choice than Grind in that case. But I think Grind with his self-healing ability is going to take some pressure off your healer and do some other things, so I think that he would probably edge out over her even with his lack of damage. You definitely want to pair her with a healer, and then obviously AoE damage somewhere just to help out, because she is kind of slow with the damage that she does do. So hopefully you found that helpful and interesting. I appreciate you spending the time with me here today, and I look forward to seeing you next time.